Now this is the oldest microbrewery in New Jersey, yes?
Yes, it is.
So you have seen some shit.
I've seen all the shit and some.
Dave Hoffman and his award-winning beers have been serving the community for the past 26 years. Today, In-House We Trust travels to Roselle Park and the Climax Brewing Company.
So when did you first have the idea to open your own place?
Well, I want to say when I got to be about 30. I've been getting Popular Science since I was a kid. And in the back, we said, brew your own beer. So I said to my buddy, Doug, hey, we got German blood in us, let's give this a go. We started brewing our own beer and we both got married. He had kids, he stopped brewing and I kind of kept going. And then I kept going and the beers got better and better. And there was a homebrew shop in North Jersey and South Jersey, but there was kind of nothing in between. So I opened up a small homebrew shop in Cranford and it caught on. And when I was going, I had 3,000 customers in my homebrew shop. So there was a lot of people making their own beer, and I taught them all how, And I said to my dad, Pops, this is kind of an up-and-coming thing. Maybe we should open up a little brewery. Back then, there were hardly any craft breweries, I think we were among the first 100 craft breweries to open up in the whole United States. And we opened up small. We had a little 4-barrel brewing system that, we bought some tanks and we modified them in the machine shop. We were actually ready to open in November of 1995, but that was the first time they ever shut down the government. So they went back to work like the first of the new year. So he came here the first week in February and the day after that we started brewing. We had beers ready, we said, for the Ides of March. Those were our first beers that we had ready, and it was an ESB, nice English style ale.
What led that to be your first beer that you guys brewed?
At the time, Fuller's from England, had a pretty big presence. They had a lot of beers on tap. And what had happened was Seagram's bought out Fuller's, so they kind of removed Fuller's from the market. And I thought, geez, I love ESB. That's one of my favorite beers. I'm going to go after all those taps. And I got actually most of those taps that Fuller's had. We were new and people are like, oh yeah, if we don't have Fuller's, we'll put that on. It tastes just as good. We got in business to make better beer, all malt beers. No adjuncts, no crap, no garbage. We make what's called Reinheitsgebot beers, water, malt, hops, and yeast. And they're better quality beers. Beers with adjuncts in them, you get hangovers, you get headaches, In the old days, they called them the Bud Splats, but Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
Everybody loves us in Roselle Park. The cops, firemen, whoever.
Well, you guys are loved outside of just Roselle Park. You've been on Nickelodeon stuff here.
Hell yeah.
You shot here with Tony Siragusa.
Yeah, the goose.
Of all the things that have been done here, filmed here, what's your favorite? What's been the most enjoyable, besides this one, obviously?
Probably Michael Jackson being here.
Yeah, when Michael Jackson.
Michael James Jackson.
Michael Jackson, to me, he was God in the beer world, because I've been reading his books for 40 years. I kind of made friends with him, and we used to do these beer dinners. My former partner and I, we used to make a beer, for one, it went with one of the courses of the dinner. And Michael Jackson would always say to us, these beers are fantastic. These are some of the best beers I've ever had. So one time I said to him, oh, maybe, if next time you write a book, maybe you could mention us in your book. And he had the forethought to say to me, well, when you open up your brewery, you get word to me and I'll come. So once we opened up, I got word to him and he came and he was here 3 times. He was on Conan O'Brien's show one time in New York and he mentioned us because Conan said to Michael Jackson, well, where is there great craft breweries in the tri-state area? And he said, oh, you have Brooklyn Brewery in Brooklyn, which makes great beers. And across the river, you have Climax Brewing, which makes great ales. And then a couple of years later, he wrote a book and he sent me a letter saying, I love your ESB. It's a very fine beer. It's one of the best I've had, and I would love to include it in my book.
Ultimate beers?
Oh yeah, Michael Jackson Ultimate Beer. And at the time, there was, 4,000 or 5,000 breweries in America, and he only chose 58 beers from the whole United States to be in that book. And to me, that was like, it was like, when you're a home brewer, that's like one of your dreams accomplished,
It's rarefied air.
Are you a fan of In Hops We Trust? Then check out our newest show, Beard Broads. Beard Broads explores the craft beer industry from the female perspective. Join us for tastings, tips, and fun facts about the broad world of beer. You can catch episodes on the Beard Broads playlist on the In Hops We Trust YouTube channel. Cheers, ladies!
So I'm drinking your Golden Ale here, and it is delicious. It's absolutely crushable. There's so much flavor.
To me, a great beer is balanced and rounded. You get a little bit of everything, and it all mingles and works together. And when you drink it, it touches on your tongue, on all the taste buds. And when you swallow it, you go, man, that was awesome. I want another one. I try to make beers that have all the flavors associated with a style, but they're super easy to drink. They're balanced. And that's what we're all about here, So ESB was my flagship beer, and then I made IPA. There's a British IPA and American IPA. American IPA is citrusy and floral and a little fruity, has a bitey bitterness, not so much malty. But British IPAs are a little bitter, but they're not so hoppy because British hops are more earthy and spicy. So I decided that I kind of like both ends of the style, so I kind of made mine, it's kind of right in the middle. So up front, it's bitter, it's hoppy, citrusy, because it has Centennial and Columbus in it. And then all of a sudden, the British malt backbone kicks in. And you get a couple of layers of caramel, which kind of detracts from the bitterness and makes the beer super drinkable. And like the hardcore, die-hard IPA drinkers, when they come here, they drink my IPA and they go, God, that's the most drinkable IPA I've ever drank, because it has all the qualities of an IPA, but it's super drinkable.
Who would have thought the point of making beer is to drink it?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right.
Crazy.
So that's kind of what we concentrate on. We make like British-style ales and German-style lagers.
Talk about your 25th anniversary barley wine.
Okay, that's a pretty special beer, because barley wine is a real big, heavy, burly beer. It's known as the port of beers in the beer world, It's 11% alcohol. It's a real lot of grain. It's like 1,000 pounds of grain to make like 200 gallons of beer, which is a real lot of grain. It's very dark brown in color, really rich, really malty. It has flavors of vanilla and chocolate and caramel. This beer is super smooth and super rounded and super balanced. And people they come here and they drink it, and they'll drink 2 pint glasses of it and not realize that it's that strong, because it's quite easy to drink. We only make it every 5 years because it's a special beer. And I actually have barley wines that we made from like 15 or 20 years ago. And every year around the holidays, I'll break out the 15-year-old, the 10-year-old, and the 5-year-old. Everybody that drinks it is like, man, that beer still tastes awesome. So it's a beer you can lay down and age like a fine wine.
When you guys started, you were working with your dad.
Yes.
Who I know passed away a couple of years ago. I'm sorry to say. What was it like working with your dad? I have a good relationship with my dad.
Did you ever watch Orange County Chopper? That's what it was like here.
A lot of
yelling and screaming and headbutting, and the rule is do it right the first time or don't do it at all, So that's kind of where I got my, And my dad, I was the one who started brewing beer, and my dad got in it with me. We were both machinists, and even being a machinist, you're very tedious and meticulous because you're working in thousandths or 10,000ths of an inch. So being a brewer is very meticulous and tedious also, because, here we try to be perfectionists. And if I pick a style out of a book, if it's not perfect, I'll make that beer 30 times on a smaller scale before I get it perfect. Once it's perfect, then that's the recipe I use. Oh boy.
Hey, the IHWT Trust app is the best way to follow all things IHWT related. On the app, you'll find the IHWT passport, rewards, crew info, updates on where we'll be for events, or where we might be filming next. The app is also the only place you'll be able to see certain content, like pre-release episode teasers or behind-the-scenes footage and exclusive content from event appearances. Our app is available on both iOS and Android devices, so please, go download it while I grab another beer. Oh, cheers. Hey, give me a tall boy.
How's Dave as a boss?
I wouldn't be here if I wasn't. 13 years. Yeah, we get into battles and shit like that, but he,
Got your back.
yeah, I got his back too. Me and him are like a brother.
Yeah.
He's abrasive a lot of times, but I know how to put up with it.
I try to be a good boss. I treat everybody
You have
fairly
nothing to say.
and nice.
You don't have nothing to say about being a good boss because you are.
I try to instill it into the guys that work here that, you know, this is a hard job. You have to love what you do. And this is like all in, you know, all in or don't bother, like my dad used to say, you know. It's hard work, you know, but hard work will set you free, so they say, you know.
What else could be a better job than we have?
Bros making
Glad
We're
you
beer.
did.
making beer.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
And good beer.
Okay?
Throughout your history, you have had working here or trained some people who've gone on to be head brewers at other distinguished breweries
Oh, yeah.
in the state.
Okay, so I had a guy, Chris, who worked here, and he moved on and went down to Washington, D.C., and he was like one of the head brewers at a place called Right Proper, which gets written up a lot and all over the place. One of my first guys, Augie, he worked here for a while, and then he went down
Dogfish
and he
head,
worked
too.
down in Old Hickory Brewing, which is down in North
Think
Carolina.
about Dogfish.
I had another guy, Wayne. He went on to be one of the head brewers at Dogfish Head, and he applied for the job, and automatically they gave him the job because he worked for me, you know. And now he owns his own brewery in Pennsylvania. It's called Birthright Brewing Company.
That's the other guy.
Then I had another guy, Jake here, fantastic guy, great worker, hard worker. He opened a brewery in Pennsylvania too. It's called Second Sin Brewing.
Definitely, he's a really good person to learn from because he's been in the industry for so long. He's brewed, you know, a ton of different beers of all different styles. I'll always, you know, have a debt of gratitude to him for just having a way into the brewing industry.
I got guys, you know, all over the place, and
So essentially, you're the godfather.
yeah, he's the man as far as to say that.
Make him an
Yeah.
offer, you know?
Yeah.
One of the things that we've noticed in the industry is that it's booming right now. You know, you see breweries popping up left and right.
Yeah.
You guys have been around for so long.
Yeah.
Tell me about the sustainability that you guys have found that a lot of people out there don't understand.
You know, more power to everybody for trying to get into the business. It's a very expensive business to get into, and it's something that you better have not just your head in it, you better have your heart in it, because if both those things aren't there, you're gonna be gone. It's a life-sucking business. You could ask my wife, for the first 10 years I was in business, I was never home. Every weekend there's a beer fest somewhere. Something's going on. So like, you know, I even ask the new guys, hey, you married? Yeah. And they tell me, yeah, and I ask them right away, does your wife love you?
You gotta understand the sacrifice for me.
Yeah. And this is a hard business. It's, you know, like when we got into business, there were not many craft beers. So the market was easy. You could sell your beer everywhere. Now there's, you know, like I said, we went from having 358 breweries when we opened up. Now there's 8,000 breweries, plus all the breweries from all around the world. So the market is flooded with beer.
I guess tenacious would be, you know, the way to one of the ways to describe him. That just like he's not somebody that's gonna quit if, you know, when it gets rough. Hurricane Sandy shut him down for a while, and I mean all the different stuff that 25 years in a business can bring. So just he keeps pushing and making the beer, and that's just the way he is.
Think about the sustainability that you've been able to have, you know, sticking to what you know.
Yeah, that's right. Look around the world, every beer you buy is crystal clear, it's filtered. It's aesthetics. 10 years ago, if you had a beer in the bar that was cloudy, everybody would say, I'm not drinking this shit, there's something wrong with it, and they'd send it back. I had my beer kicked out of bars because it was cloudy. So then we went to filter and everything, and now it's just fine and lovely, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know why all of a sudden it went from having a beautiful crystal clear beer in a glass, now I'm looking at beer that looks like a yeast slurry in a glass. I told you we're old and I don't give a shit.
That was great. So come on down to Climax Brewing on Valley Road in Rochelle Park.
Roselle Park.
So come on down to Climax Brewing on Valley Road in Roselle Park. These guys know what they're doing.
Cheers.
Fucking A.
Cheers.
In hops we trust.
Want another beer? Check out our channel, In Hops We Trust Film. There you'll get all our latest content, including new episodes, tastings, and all things In Hops related. Cheers! In Hops We Trust is an Ambassador Studios production.